Thank you for joining us today. We will be covering and discussing a very important topic today: how to support victims of sexual assault, both through psychotherapy and through our legal system. We have a guest today, Ms. Alexia, who's joining me in this conversation, discussing how and through what approaches we could support the victims. Shockingly, among every 3 women, 1 woman is a victim of sexual assault. When we talk about sexual assault, often people think, well, women are the only victims. Unfortunately, men are also victims. A lot of times, victims, for a variety of reasons, don't speak up, which can cause a lot of harm to them, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Thank you for joining us, Alexia. Alexia is a lawyer who has been practicing law in Vancouver for more than 10 years, supporting clients in various areas, including victims of sexual assault, supporting them throughout the legal system, and defends their rights. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Sherry. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to diving into the conversation. I think the trauma-informed approach in both of our areas of practice is vital and crucial to the success of our clients. So thank you for having me.
I agree more with you. When a sexual assault happens, it impacts the victims in a variety of ways: emotionally, physically, and mentally. It can cause a lot of negative effects, which the victim experiences different things. A lot of these feelings after the traumatic experience will lead them not to speak up. And there are many reasons. When I speak to some of the victims of sexual assault, among those reasons that they don't speak up is shame, feeling guilty, feeling judged by family members or friends or community. So they might feel that there's no one to protect them and nothing will change. What are your thoughts about this?
In my practice, I approach the survivors in a trauma-informed approach. The legal process itself can be quite daunting and triggering. My goal is to reduce re-traumatization by approaching them with understanding, support, and empathy.
How do you support victims, encourage them to speak up when they feel guilty or ashamed? How do you support them?
In the legal process, I remind them first and foremost that everything is confidential between myself and the survivor. Nothing will leave the room or the legal process itself. Some victims, because they don't want to be reminded or don't want to have others find out that they're bringing a claim, might seek anonymization of their names in the court proceedings. So that's something that we can do.
Is that possible for the victims?
It is, absolutely it is, because some victims have safety issues beyond just that case. And whatever their circumstances are, it will lead the court in most cases to provide an opportunity to anonymize their name. I walk them through the court process in detail. A lot of hand-holding is involved as well, too. And we do take lots of breaks through any sort of legal proceeding to allow the survivor to recharge almost and to go through the healing process with their support team as we navigate the legal system.
I personally did not expect that in the legal system there are people who truly care and support the victims based on trauma-informed approach. So I truly believe in any situation that when there is a victim at stake, validating their feelings and understanding them, feeling that they're being heard and not judged, and supporting them, reminding them where you are here and now and you're safe. It's so crucial. How do you, in your practice, do that, to offer that grounding and support for them to feel safe?
I approach all my clients with, first and foremost, I believe your story. And I want to hear your story without any judgment. So when you start from there, you empower the survivor to come forward and to speak to you, or at least feel safe to speak to you. At the same time, I tell my clients, if you feel more comfortable coming in with a support person, an advocate, a trusted advisor, a family member, please bring them in as well too. Oftentimes I also work with the survivor's therapist or medical providers and supervisors to come up with an idea or come up with a plan on how to not only re-traumatize them or trigger them, but how can I support them as well in their healing journey and not just their legal journey.
A lot of times when I hear about the legal process, sounds like it's a lengthy process, and victims, that's the last thing that they want to feel, going through everything and getting traumatized all over again. So grounding them and offering them step by step, being with them is so crucial. How do you do that? Supporting them and informing them that it will be a process, but re-triggering them. How is that possible?
To the best of our abilities, we try to break it down into manageable steps, into a step-by-step approach. We try to go about it as lightly as possible, if that makes any sense. Not every case goes to court, not every case goes to trial, so we do make decisions based on the client and their needs, and that will oftentimes dictate the direction of the legal proceeding. We offer our legal services in multiple languages as well too, so if there is a disconnect or an issue with communication, we have that tool and that resource as well too, to make it more understandable as far as language goes. And then I always recommend to my clients to continue seeking therapy, or at least start therapy. And I do appreciate that sometimes, based on cultural issues and whatnot, some people aren't open to that idea, but as part of the legal process, I oftentimes, more often than not in fact, tell my clients to go seek therapy throughout the process.
So you emphasize on the healing process as well, and it's a journey that they will go through one step at a time, and understanding that you are being heard throughout the process and you are believed. Oftentimes when clients experience such a thing, they lose trust in everybody. And it's very hard, even in my practice, when clients go through these traumatic events, to build that trust, to start trusting us even as therapists. So it's very sensitive timing when we work with them individually. And exactly as you mentioned, we need to work collaboratively together to create and build that trust and foundation, so they could feel they have a solid ground to walk on again. And during that whole process, we start working on empowering them and building their self-confidence as well, emphasizing that it was not your fault what happened to you. You were a victim, and the person who has done this to you, you will get the consequence that they deserve.
Or in the case of the civil justice system, to help the client, the survivor, seek compensation for the loss that they've suffered, right? As far as money can go, put them back in a position they would have been had this incident or this assault not occurred.
Exactly. And a lot of times people don't look at it from the financial compensation that they can get, because when a victim, this happens to them, therapy is expensive. They need to go to therapy. Getting legal support is expensive. They need to have the means to cover that. Oftentimes people who become victims of sexual assault, they cannot go to work. They're getting traumatized. They cannot do their daily life tasks. So that financial means that you and people like you and your team can offer them is so crucial. And a lot of times victims don't think about that they have that right and they can get compensated for the wrongdoing that happened for them.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping by this conversation that you and I have, people understand and appreciate the value of not only the healing process, but the potential of seeking compensation through the justice system.
Thank you for this valuable information that you mentioned. I was not aware of some of the things that you pointed out. So what do you think would be the first approach? For example, if a client contacted me and they said something bad happened to me, and they informed me that they were victims of a sexual assault, what should be the first step? How should I advise them to seek legal advice?
Well, first and foremost, a survivor should seek legal representation only when they're ready. And the benefit of Canada in this situation is that we don't have a limitation period. So there is no time period. There's no deadline. There's no within 2 years of the incident you have to seek, legal representation or file a lawsuit. There is no limitation period, which makes so much sense because some people are almost never ready to talk about the assault.
It may take them years to get the courage to face the person who assaulted them or to stand up, speak up.
Right. So there is no limitation period. So whenever a victim is ready, we offer free consultations. Let us have a chat with them, and it's always confidential. In many circumstances, we're not able to help, but at least the survivor knows what their rights are. It's better to know than not to know.
Thank you so much for providing these valuable information.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, victims of sexual assault become victims, and the person who assaults them can be among close family members, neighbors, people that they know, people that they trust. If your child or someone that you know approached you as a parent or as an adult and mentioned that something bad has happened to me, or you suddenly felt a change in their approach, leave that child, protect them, and listen to them, and follow your gut feeling. Thank you.